Hi guys, it's Mrs. Hill. We're going to start our reading lesson for today, and the book that we are going to work through this week is called Potato, A Tale from the Great Depression. It is written by Katie Lyde and illustrated by Lisa Ernst. First thing we're going to do as I work through this lesson today, we are only going to read about 5 pages to get started. We're going to read through page 9. What I'd like to do before we get started reading our story, we're going to take a look at the pictures. And what I would like for you to notice about these pictures is they are illustrations. They're not photographs. Somebody has drawn them. They are illustrations. Look at that cute little cat right there. So again, on each page, there's an illustration that will help you get a visual image of our story this week. So this one's kind of a 2-page picture. It goes across both pages. So as we read, I will move the book for you so you can see the picture. So before we get started, we're going to look at a couple of vocabulary words just to make sure we can identify them and not have to stop and look at sounding the words out or understanding what they mean. The Great Depression, that was an era or a time period in U.S. history that we'll be talking about in this story. And on page 9, a key word that you need to be listening for is the word job. So again, our story is called Potato, A Tale from the Great Depression. On page 3 of this book, it has a nice little illustration, and it says, "This book is dedicated to my grandmother and grandfather Lyde, who this story is about, my Aunt Dorothy Wagner, who passed the story along, and to Lisa, who believed." So the author of this story dedicated this book to her grandmother and her grandfather. So again, take a quick look at the pictures before we read. This is a story about my grandfather and my grandmother. It is also a story about the Great Depression and how hard things were. So again, pay attention to the details in the photograph. Cat's my favorite. Once upon a time, there was a mother named Agnes and a father named Clarence. They had a baby girl named Dorothy. Dorothy and her parents lived in Iowa. Clarence and Agnes had not been married long. So here's Dorothy and her kitty cat sitting on the blanket. Looks like in the grass or in the front lawn outside of a house. And it looks like they're packing everything in their truck. Clarence lost his job and the bank took away their house. See the sign that says for sale by the bank? That's as far as we're going to read today. What I'd like for you to do after you listen to the story, in your Google Classroom, you will have an assignment that's posted. The first one you'll see, the title is Potato, A Tale from the Great Depression. Who are the characters? We met several characters during this part of the story. And what I need for you to do is go back to the story and you can list the characters' names. If you want to number them 1, 2, 3. We've met 3 characters today in this part of our story. And if you would like to list the kitty cat as a story, I'm going to put it down as the 4th character that you met. Okay? The second thing you're going to fill in is, what is the setting? The setting is where the story takes place. So if you will look back in your story, the setting is on page 4. in your story. The setting starts on page 4, so if you'll find the setting or the time or the era in which the story took place, and it will also tell you on page 8 where the story took place. Okay, so if you'll fill that in the first 2 boxes, the characters and the setting. So the setting is where the story took place or when and where. The second part of your assignment, the second page, 2 boxes, and you'll have a text box on yours. You'll have to type your answers. But why do you think the story is called Potato? You're going to make a prediction, and you're going to start off your answer by saying, I think this story is called Potato because, and then you will finish that sentence. So again, I hand wrote mine just because I wanted you to have an example. You should be able to pause the video and look at my sentence starter for a reference as you type your answer in your Google Docs. As you type that and as you finish these 2 questions today, make sure you hit save. I think it automatically saves for you, but I always get nervous. I always want to hit the save button. But again, make your story prediction here. Why do you think the story is called Potato? That should be the second document you open. And the first one, you've got to answer. You have to list the characters we met today. There's 4 of them. I included the kitty cat in that one. And what is the setting? That is where or when the story took place. So after you do those 2 things, hit save on your Google Docs, and we will finish this part of our lesson today, and we'll pick up tomorrow. Thank you.